views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, everybody. Wow. It is so great connecting with all of you. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Welcome to Transformation Talk Radio. It's so great to be connecting with all of you. We have got another fabulous educational, informational show. Why? Because it is such an important conversation, not just, every day of our lives, but this time of year especially. My co-host today, Tonya Winders, is joining me here today. Why? Listen. We don't even know going into the holiday season how we are going to react, especially those of us that have allergies and many who have asthma. You know, today, allergy and asthma coming together from a resource, one of the best family individual resources for health care around right now. And what we're talking about is allergyasthmanetwork.org. I'm just giving you that website. Please write it down, allergyasthmanetwork.org. And the reason that I want to make sure that you get there is because today's show is one of many that Tonya and I are doing, but most importantly, it is so essential that we know how to prepare ourselves for the holiday season. Now, how do I know that? Because I happen to be a little sensitive to food. I'm also sensitive to certain insect bites. And, how often are we out and about in the world right now? And whether it's the stress of the holidays or not, we have something that causes our allergic condition to get worse or our asthma to get worse. And I was sharing a story with Tonya about a friend of mine, and already we're not even in full gear, and already we're coming to near hospital scenarios. Now, what is the best way for us to prevent? And that is to educate. And whether we're looking at understanding and knowing how things go, or knowing what to do to help our family and our children, Tonya Winders is somebody, President and Chief Executive Officer of Allergy and Asthma Network. And this is a leading patient advocacy organization. They're dedicated to ending the needless death and suffering due to asthma, allergies, and related conditions. And there are many, many. Many of us have gotten to sit in the car with a loved one as we rush to the hospital because they're gasping for air. But today, the show is all about how our families can get the best of the best education and information. And we'll tell you how that is and how that works. But Tonya's somebody that travels the country, travels the world, mother of 2 children, 4 of whom have asthma and or allergies, ranging in ages from 10-ish to 18-ish. And for the most part, it is a full-time job for her to take this message out into the world, but most importantly, to know that there is hope and a solution. Tonya, it's great to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dr. Peck. Thank you for having me, and good afternoon.
I mentioned this time of year, and the reason I mention it is because it's not like folks that have allergies or asthma don't suffer all year long. But there's something about what this time of year brings to people that is of great joy and could be of great stress as well. Education is key. Tell us a little bit about, or a lot about, what the educational resources are that you have for people so they can get plugged in. We don't even know what we don't know about this and what to do in times of crisis. So let's not get to the crisis, right?
Right, absolutely. Well, thank you again. And yes, I mean, this time of year, we definitely see a lot of presentations and hear a lot of phone calls from families that are suffering from allergies, asthma, also cold and flu. It is definitely that time of year where we're out and about, and there are a lot of viruses and germs being spread. And we're certainly traveling and in different environments, and a lot of the time that is what triggers many people's symptoms. So at the network, we are very focused on patient-friendly, medically accurate education resources and programs that help families and healthcare professionals understand these conditions better and be able to address those more readily.
Let's take a minute to talk about the people that are part of your organization. Some of the people that contribute to information and getting the message out there. We're talking about specialists. We're talking about people that not just have a way to handle situations where they come up, but we're talking about research. We're talking about information that we're now finding coming to the forefront to help people. Tell us a bit about who the folks are that are part of the team.
Well, Allergy and Asthma Network is comprised of over 2 million members, and 90% of those are patients and caregivers, families just like mine and yours, that have a special interest in these conditions and are seeking that patient-friendly, medically accurate information that we spoke of earlier. And then about 10% are healthcare professionals. So the network is comprised of school nurses and pediatricians, primary care doctors, but also subspecialists like allergists and pulmonologists, who oftentimes see the worst of the worst patients who are getting, or who are having unresolved symptoms, even though they're, a lot of times taking medication and taking the measures to reduce that exposure. Sometimes it just isn't working, and so the care needs to be escalated to that specialist level. And at the network, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is all of our educational resources, and we've developed those for both communities, for the patient and caregiver community, as well as for the healthcare professional community.
I mean, we're finding out in today's world and environment that there are so many triggers, if we could call them, available and out there. And it's really interesting. I know you've heard this more times than not, right? Stories from people that say, I just gave my son a chocolate chip cookie. I don't really understand it. Or, I don't really know why my mom is not able to breathe as well. And because folks really don't know, Tonya, they don't know. Do you find now we have to be more educated about what's out and about in the world than we ever have?
Absolutely. I think that definitely, as we've talked about before, the prevalence of allergy and asthma is certainly on the rise. And consequently, we have to be more aware because we're exposed to so many more things that could potentially cause a reaction. So I think that heightened awareness is really critical, and just making ourselves certainly more aware and educated when we know that we have those specific risk factors or potential triggers, being more cognizant and aware and prepared to deal with those is critically important for families.
Well, I want to give folks an opportunity to also call into the show today or send us an instant message with your questions. You can give us a shout in the show today at 1-800-930-2819. If you want to just give us a shout in here, you got a question for Tonya today. If you're not able to get to the phone but want to send us a instant feedback, you can go to transformationtalkradio.com and just type in your question and we will get it on air. Now, for those of you that are sending me an instant message saying, please say the website again, I absolutely will. It is www.allergyasthmanetwork.org. So you can go ahead and find out more about that. For those of you that are wanting to, find out more about the membership, what does it mean to become a member? What does it mean to become a part of the community? We'll make sure that we give you that information as well. Tonya, now, one of the things we'll talk about when we come back from break is we'll go through some of the educational resources we provide for families. What does that look like? And what does that information show up like for families versus what do we give to healthcare providers? And how does this all help? We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Tonya's going to take us through a journey of what this means to be part of the community. And by the way, what are some very specific resources available for you? You can sign up for free, plug into the community, but we've got lots more to share. Let's take a short break, everybody. When we come back, we'll be talking about what this means to get educated, to get informed, and how this might be, just might be, the best family resource for healthcare you can get your hands on. We'll be right back.
What does it mean to be healthy? For each of us, it means something a little different. Discover the art of herbal medicine, a natural way to help our bodies respond better to the modern-day stress and toxicity of our everyday lives. Using organic herbs from around the world, the skilled herbalists at Urban Wellness in Kirkland can help you choose the herbs that are right for your body. Find your herbal solutions for common health issues at urbanwellness.com. That's HERBAN wellness.com.
Put a little woohoo in your life with Keys. Keys Clear Protein Waters have 22 grams of smile-making, attitude-adjusting protein in every bottle. Did I mention its tongue-tingling taste? Not just another guilty pleasure. With Keys, you'll enjoy every low-sugar sip and freedom from gluten, lactose, and GMOs. Who needs the fountain of youth when you can find Keys on Amazon or at Keys, Kees, please.com. Put a little woohoo in your attitude with Keys Protein Water.
Are you ready for a radical shift in your way of being? Are you seeking a more deeply connected and fulfilling life? Awakened Living Radio is a show dedicated to helping you embrace a life filled with profound peace, connection, and happiness. TJ Woodward is passionate about helping you find your clarity, balance, and purpose. Join co-host TJ Woodward and Dr. Pat Basili on the first Monday of every month at 11 a.m. Pacific Time for Awakened Living Radio on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Tune in to Lucid Planet Radio with Dr. Kelly Neff. This hit show will illuminate your senses and empower you beyond your daily stressors and hardships. Renowned psychologist and author Dr. Kelly will captivate you with far-reaching topics and amazing guests as you wake to the greatest version of yourself. Learn to tap into your intuitions, think critically about our world, heal emotional and psychological wounds, and follow your passions to live your dreams. The Lucid Planet. Welcome home. Visit lucidplanetradio.com for more information.
Are you ready for a game changer? Sarah Westall is bringing you Business Game Changers Radio. Sarah brings you leading experts, visionaries, and newsmakers who provide the best commentary on big issues and cutting-edge innovations. Sarah's 20 years as a business executive will help you think like an entrepreneur with expertise, energy, and attitude. Tune in to Business Game Changers Mondays at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Almost everyone at some time in their lives ask themselves, what am I? Most of our questions are ego-generated and simply don't address the problem of our false self. It's time to relax your ego and embody your soul. Dr. Dan Cohen, neurologist, inventor, and author, has created tools to awaken, a new way to transform from who you thought you were into what you truly are. Visit toolstoawaken.com today.
Of cards as a meditation, and those he plays never suspect. He doesn't play for the money he wins. He doesn't play.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It is so great having Tonya Winders joining us here today. Many of you have heard her on the show before, speaking about what it is we can do, how we can get plugged in, to some of the best information we have out there about allergy and asthma, and that is the Allergy and Asthma Network. And if you want to find out more, go ahead to the website, www.allergyasthmanetwork.org. And when you get there, there's going to be a way for you to plug in, and you can either plug in as a patient or you can plug in as a professional. And Tonya is going to tell us what the difference is and what the educational process is all about. Let's talk about this education from a couple different points of view. There are many, many ways to find out and get plugged into education, whether it's the Women Breathe Free educating and empowering women, whether it's something, that has to do with, wait a minute, I have to be able to carry an injection around with me for my child. Tell us first about families. What is it that you all provide to educate and empower families?
Sure, absolutely. Well, thanks again. Yeah, so I think that when we think about educational resources, it's really important that people understand, what we really strive to do is to provide that medical accurate information that's credible and can be trusted, but that is written on a very easy to understand, easy to digest 7th grade level for most people. The reason being is that even if you're much more educated than that, it can be challenging when you've got a new diagnosis or a very complex medical situation to understand the information. So we try to target it to a level that's understandable for all. We do that through providing resources for families like our quarterly magazine, Allergy and Asthma Today. And Allergy and Asthma Today magazine is distributed to over 2 million people each quarter, and it's often found in your doctor's office or in your mailbox if you're a member of the network. And again, we take guidelines-based educational messages but make them interesting and inviting by wrapping them around a human interest, human story and that tells the journey of another person, because that's how we feel like that most people relate, is by hearing other people's stories and seeing something that resembles their own journey. And so the Allergy and Asthma Day magazine is that flagship publication that's won just a host of awards over the past 20 years. And then we also do an electronic newsletter that goes out to about 70,000 each and every month. And that electronic newsletter is focused more so on the hot topics of allergy and asthma. And so we'll take the latest study and break it down to a point, that is easy to understand for the general public. We'll kind of talk about what's on the horizon or what's some of the most timely tips for living with allergies and asthma that can be most impactful for families. And then we also have a lot of special publications that are devoted to the disease states like anaphylaxis or understanding seasonal allergies. That is very helpful, understanding asthma. This is more of like a special magazine or resource that has a longer shelf life than just a quarterly magazine.
One of the things that we're finding is that, this is not like a one-time education. It really is, Tonya, staying on top of what's going on, about what's happening, about not only what is being discovered in research, but that is super important. It's also about, what are we now being exposed to that we don't even know about? And you and I were talking a little bit about that before you came on. And I was sharing a story about some holiday decorations this year, and we don't really quite understand it. We think, oh, you know what? An allergy is like, I can't have peanuts. Okay, then that's that. Or I need to be gluten-free, or whatever that is. But we don't really understand the depth by which somebody can be affected by the environment. Tell us a little about that. This idea of being triggered by some of these other things.
Yeah, I think it is very confusing because oftentimes the symptoms appear the same. So you may have itching of the nose, sneezing, runny nose, red, itchy eyes, throat itching or coughing. difficulty breathing. All of that can actually be manifested by an allergy, but could also, you get those same symptoms from an irritant, which is a completely different thing. And so, again, at the network, we try to strive to help people understand that not all things are allergies, even though you may have the same type of reaction or response. So an allergy is an exposure and reaction to a substance that normally most people wouldn't react to. It really requires our immune system to develop a response to a specific allergen, and that response is called specific IgE. It's an antibody that our bodies create, and it actually causes inflammation as the main feature of allergy, and that's why your immune system overreacts or hyper-responds. Now, an irritant is actually something completely different. Your immune system isn't typically involved. It's a body defense mechanism that responds with an action like sneezing or coughing. And that's most commonly through things like cigarette smoke or exhaust from cars, sometimes even the scent of a perfume or a room deodorizer, which a lot of people use this time of year, can really trigger that irritant response.
Yeah, and this is all being educated about this, because one way or the other, it has an effect on people, especially people that have asthma. And I want to ask you this question, and before we come back and talk about educating from a professional point of view, the question that just came in is this question, Tonya. It is, thank you for this show. My question is, my question for Tonya is, how do you know when you should respond to someone who has allergy? Meaning when we should take action and go get the medical help. This is an interesting question from Sheila. Sheila, send me a little bit more information on that. I think what Sheila's asking is, we tend to wait sometimes if someone is wheezing, let's say. And we tend to wait as if we think it's going to go away and get better, right? Somebody's got asthma and we tend to wait. That's not necessarily true.
Right. Well, and it's very common because, again, especially this time of year, as I said, there's a lot of colds and flus and viruses, things like that going around. So you're trying to determine, is this really something that I need to respond to or not? And what we often say is that if you have symptoms that easily resolve with over-the-counter medication in, 5 to 7 days, then that's great. And, you should really count your blessings and move forward. If it lingers beyond that 5 to 7 days, if it's something that's definitely more than just a seasonal cold or the flu, then that's the time that really, or if it's even allergies that aren't easily resolved with that over-the-counter medication, that's the time that we say you should really seek a medical professional, a healthcare provider's advice. And, they certainly have the ability and the skills to do the appropriate testing and the appropriate diagnosis for patients, but then also to rule out all of those other things that it could be and to get you to the right treatment sooner rather than later. And so usually about the 7-day mark, if things aren't resolving with the over-the-counter treatments or your at-home remedies, then it's time to see a medical professional and get extra help.
Yeah, and just so you know, if you go to the website, allergyasthmanetwork.org, if you go there and you click on the information about education, there's lots of information here. If you're looking at asthma and symptoms, they absolutely break down, some of the more common symptoms, but of course they don't have to be exactly like that. Diagnosing asthma is not an easy disease to diagnose. And we should say that, a little bit, Tonya. People think, oh, yeah, it's real easy, but it's really not. It's not an easy disease to diagnose, is it?
No, it's actually very complex. And as I said earlier, can often be confused with a lot of different things. And so that's why we always say, it's best to see your healthcare professional, to have those discussions, to come prepared to that visit, to really lay out what's going on and how long it's been going on and help the physician to put the pieces of the puzzle together to get you to the right diagnosis and then subsequently to the right treatment.
Yes, and what you want to be able to do is get educated in advance. And, that's part of what we're talking about. We're talking about, folks being able to get educated. Tell us a little bit before we go to break, Tonya, if you could. There's lots of information on the website, and there are many ways for people to sign up and, be part of this amazing initiative and education forum. What is the best way to do that? Would you let folks know?
Sure. So definitely there's lots of ways to engage with the network. If you go to www.allergyasthmanetwork.org, you can sign up for a free membership and begin to access all of our online materials. If you want the print materials, you can either call us at 1-800-878-4403 or drop us an email at the connection at the contact us on the website, and we'll be happy to sign you up for that free print membership. Again, that's 1-800-878-4403 as the 1-800 number, or allergyasthmanetwork.org.
Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about, what does this mean to educate the professionals in the arena? For example, if you go to a general doctor, do you assume that your general doctor knows a lot about asthma, knows a lot about allergy? How about healthcare professionals? What's available for all of you that are listening to the show right now that you can find out about? And how about those of you out there? What can you share with your healthcare professional? We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more about learning about allergies, learning about asthma, and learning about how to plug in. We'll be right back.
I'm so tired of being here, suppressed by all my childish fears. And if you have to leave, I wish.
Tune in to Sheer Alchemy with Leslie Fontaine on TransformationTalkRadio.com and get ready to stir up your passions, identify your blocks, and shift into an entirely new existence. Leslie Fontaine is a transformation catalyst and clairvoyant who uses her intuitive and energetic gifts to catapult listeners into living the life they were born to live. Whether it's shifting from scarcity to abundance, from emotional pain into joy, or from illness into health, Leslie will help you step into the true essence and power of all that you are with the help of the Ascended Masters and Archangels. You will not be the same. Visit TransformationTalkRadio.com for show dates and times, and LeslieFontaine.com to say yes to explosive abundance.
Naturopathic doctor, founder of the Martha's Vineyard Holistic Retreat, and author of the New York Times bestseller 21 Pounds in 21 Days, Dr. Ronnie DeLuce has helped tens of thousands of people, including celebrities and athletes, with her message of lifestyle change. Now Dr. Ronnie DeLuce wants to help you. You too can be saved. Email Dr. Ronnie DeLuce at info@ronniedeluceonradio.com and visit mvholisticretreat.com. Dr. Ronnie DeLuce, your partner in wellness.
Called the Oprah of radio by her listeners, award-winning host Dr. Pat Baccili is blowing the doors off of traditional talk radio. Get ready for an energizing delivery and powerful interviews with leaders in the field of human potential. Dr. Pat's fresh, new perspective on living life full out has catapulted her show to the top of talk radio. Tune in and Dr. Pat will help you thrive instead of merely survive. Visit thedrpatshow.com. That's THEDRPatShow.com for listening times in your area.
What would you say if I told you that you could change your life in only 1 hour and all while lying down relaxing? Thousands of people all over the world have. What am I talking about? It's called Access Consciousness, the bars. The bars is an energetic body process that contains 32 different points on your head that, when run, assist you in releasing decisions about any area of your life that you have made solid and as a result cannot change. The bars is the first class in Access Consciousness, a dynamic set of tools and information designed to transform any area of your life. When you have a bar session, the worst that can happen is you feel like you had a fantastic massage. The best thing that can happen is your whole life could change. Go to accessconsciousness.com today to find a facilitator to schedule a private session or to find a bars class in your area. Are you willing to give yourself an hour to change your life?
Your presence still lingers here, and it won't leave me alone. These wounds won't seem to heal. This pain is just too real. There's just too much that time cannot erase.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. It is so great to have Tonya Winders joining us here today. For her, this is a mission. It is about passion, it's about purpose, and it's about change. When we think about an organization such as, Allergy and Asthma Network, one of the things we think about is their history, how it got started. And we've talked about this before, putting patients first since 1985. Well, fast forward to where we are now in this year, 2015, and what we've learned in that point in time. Education and information is your friend. You think just because you go out to a restaurant around the holiday season and you say to them, can you please make sure there are no nuts in the food, that everything's going to be all right. And a lot of times it is, and sometimes it's not. How do you get educated about what to do, what to know, what to ask? And, today's show is about education. We've talked a little bit now about the healthcare, about the families. Tell us about the healthcare providers. How does education help in that community?
Sure. Well, we all think that we should trust our doctors, right?
Yeah.
They go to med school.
Yeah.
Certainly they're smarter than we are in most regards. And yet the truth is that a lot of physicians don't know all the various guidelines. They don't know, everything about your own particular health and situation. And so we really encourage families to come into those physician visits as an active participant, not expecting the healthcare provider to have all the answers, and to be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together without your help as your own best advocate. So the patient has to play a very important role in guiding that visit to get the most out of it. But on the healthcare professional side, a lot of these doctors, they've been out of their training program for 10, 20, 30 years, and the science has changed. The treatments have changed. And so we at the network partner alongside professional medical societies like the American Academy of Pediatrics or the American College of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology to provide education for those healthcare professionals. And we do this through webinars, through podcasts. A lot of times we'll also do live events and focus groups where we present different patient cases and help those healthcare professionals critically think through that patient type and what's the best way to treat them. Because the asthma guidelines alone are about 400 plus pages.
Yeah.
The food allergy guidelines are over 50 pages. And so it's really challenging for a general pediatrician to know all of that inside and out. And we find that if we can just engage them in those case-based discussions, that a lot of times those behaviors and thoughts will develop more readily through the interaction with their peers and with the experts.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things we're really talking about is, first of all, we're in an ever-changing world. There are new things that are happening every day in this arena, and there's a reason for it. We're having more and more people show up either with allergies or asthma or both. Is it uncommon to see both allergies and asthma together in a patient?
No, actually, it's very common. So in children, about 70 to 80% of children who have asthma also have allergies. It's very, very common. In adults, it's about 50 to 60% of adults with asthma who also have allergic triggers. So those two diseases often go hand in hand, and it's really very, very commonplace if you have one to also have the other.
Right. And people, right, they think this is the way asthma shows up and this is what you look for. And I remember reading on your website, you break it down into a couple different pieces. One you call quiet asthma, and the other you call noisy asthma. And I was really interested in this because the noisy asthma is the one that gets all the press, right? But almost to say that the quiet asthma, the inflammation level, isn't as important. You know, tell us the facts about that.
Yeah, and you know that's an often a very common misconception because the truth is that even when you're not having symptoms, where you're not having, where you have shortness of breath or coughing or wheezing, you always have that quiet asthma, the inflammation that's going on in your airways. A lot of people think you can outgrow asthma.
Yeah.
In fact, the science says that you absolutely cannot. That quiet asthma is always, if you have asthma, that quiet asthma, that inflammation of the airways is always sort of like burning embers of a fire, waiting for something to stoke it and to cause it to become a full-blown five-bell alarm fire. So, that's the noisy part of asthma is when you're having symptoms, when you're experiencing shortness of breath and coughing and interruption to your daily life, like sleeping or working or going to school, that a lot of people think, that's when I'm having asthma. Mm-hmm. And in fact, you're actually having asthma all the time in between those episodes or flares.
Wow. Now, one of the partnerships that you have, especially along these lines, I think it really talks to the fact, that there is this partnership to educate professionals. It's about the American Academy of Pediatrics to educate pediatricians on these topics. There's this partnership that you all have. Partnership seems to be a major theme for what you do. But this one in particular, I thought for myself, well, of course you do. But no, you have to go out there and formulate these partnerships, don't you? Tell us a little bit about this one.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we really do look to the professional medical societies, to the experts in this field. And the American Academy of Pediatrics has long since been such a leader in children's health, and with asthma being the most common childhood chronic condition, it made a lot of sense that we developed this formal partnership. So 2 years ago, we partnered with the AAP to develop chapter champions in allergy, asthma, and anaphylaxis. And these are pediatricians who have stepped forward in their local communities to be that expert, to be that voice of staying on top of the literature, staying on top of the science, and then spreading those guidelines-based messages in their own local community. So we currently have 100 champions throughout the U.S., about 2 in every state. And they have been trained on the guidelines-based messages that then they take forth into their state chapters and into their local communities and educate their peers.
Wow. Isn't that interesting that, this is really a ripple effect to get the word out, because that's really what we need to understand, if we ask our doctors, our professionals a question, that we can direct them if they don't know to find more information, but also we become educated ourselves in so many ways about this. I know that there are a number of other partnerships that you get involved with. I alluded to this earlier when I was talking about a youngster that I know that carries around an injection with her, and she has to carry that around because the severity of her allergy is life-threatening. Now, some people that's the case, other people not so much. But when we're talking about anaphylaxis, when we're talking about something that is of a serious nature, you also have a program about that for the community. Tell us a bit about that.
We do. So our Anaphylaxis Community Experts program is in its 6th year, and it's a program that's really, again, a physician-led team, typically a pediatric allergist or an adult allergist who has said, I have an interest in this area of anaphylaxis, and I want to help serve in my community to raise awareness and preparedness. And so we now have over 300 physician-led teams throughout the country that work with school nurses and with parent advocates, work with the media, and also work within their own state governments to advance the awareness and preparedness for life-threatening allergies like food allergies and allergies to medications. And this particular program has been so successful, has won so many awards, and has reached so many lives. We've actually directly trained over 100,000 lives in the past 5 years. And we are so proud to continue the work of the Anaphylaxis Community Experts Program, and are grateful to Mylan Specialty, the manufacturer of EpiPen, who has really been the lead sponsor of this program for the last 5 years.
Now, tell everyone what this program is about. Many people may know what anaphylaxis is, but many people may not. Tell folks a little bit about this and about what I meant when I said my friend's 8-year-old, has to carry an injection.
Yeah. So, again, we talked earlier about allergic reactions, and sometimes they can be really mild. It can be something as mild as a runny nose or itchy eyes. But sometimes it can be a very severe, life-threatening allergic reaction, and that's what we call anaphylaxis. Mm-hmm. And this is when more than one organ system comes into play. And so oftentimes this is when someone has ingested a food or a medication or has been exposed to latex allergy and are having a very severe, sudden, life-threatening allergic reaction. And this is progressive. So it may start out with just 1 or 2 hives or a little bit of GI distress. But very quickly, usually within 15 minutes to 1 hour, you're seeing it progress to the point of involving multiple organ systems, and it's very, very serious and actually can cause death if not treated appropriately with epinephrine.
Yeah, and that's really what we're talking about, is being educated enough about this, because, when we do shows like this, we're very close to it. But think about the school system and about the kids that go through a school system. Some people may know a bit about it and some may not. And this is really to create a broader reach for educating folks so that they can know what to do. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Women Breathe Free program. Women Breathe Free program. Thanks to Tonya, the team at Allergy and Asthma Network. Thanks to the team. They are the best resource for health care for so many people, and this is available to all of you. When we come back, we're going to tell you how you can simply sign up, gain access to this information, donate if you choose to, but most importantly, what is it that you might need to know someday for yourself or a loved one? When we come back, we'll talk with Tonya about Women Breathe Free and much more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you ever consumed with the idea that something needs to change? You hear Oprah and other inspiring people talk about living your authentic life, and yet it's much easier said than done. Duda, the kick-ass muse, has crafted a world-renowned coaching platform that will help you get clarity on the issues you face, take bold risks, get back your confidence, and brave your fears. To learn more and work with Duda today, visit kickassmuse.com.
In retirement, will you have enough money to live life on your terms? Everyone has retirement questions. Ask Ameriprise financial advisor Jeff Packman about the new Confident Retirement Approach. You and Jeff can break down retirement planning step by step to get the real answers you need. In fact, 93% of clients who've had the Confident Retirement Approach conversation feel more confident about their retirement. Call Jeff Packman, financial advisor, at 425-453-0272 for your Confident Retirement conversation today. Office is located at 601 108th Avenue Northeast, Suite 1800, Bellevue, Washington, 98004. Percentage based on Ameriprise Financial Confident Retirement Client Survey as of December 2013. The Confident Retirement Approach is not a guarantee of future financial results. Investment advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC.
Get ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit truthtalkradioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics and guests.
A word of caution: if you prefer the status quo and you are not interested in improving every aspect of your life, this book will trigger the shift out of you. The Truth is Funny, Shift Happens is available now. Author Colette Steffen brings the powerful knowledge and life-changing energy and empowerment from the radio airwaves to the pages of her new book. To get your copy in paperback or ebook, visit thetruthisfunny.com today.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have you all tuning us in, turning us on. Please go ahead and get, all the information that I'm looking at for the show today with Tonya is coming right from the website, allergyasthmanetwork.org, allergyasthmanetwork.org. And when you get there, you'll be able to just sign in. And, signing in will give you access to information. But there are multiple ways that you can participate. You can join, and of course, that's quite easy to do. You can donate. And by the way, you can also volunteer, which we'll be talking about in an upcoming show. We'll talk more about what that means. Today we're talking about education, information, and what does the network do to help get the word out. Tonya, it's so great to have you here today. So many programs you're involved with. You are so busy. But I don't even know. I don't even know. Did you even eat any turkey over the holiday?
I certainly did get my fair share.
Oh, good.
Thank you, and thanks again for having us.
Okay, Women Breathe Free program. Now, that is really interesting. And I was wondering, okay, I've taken a look at it. What does it mean? But boy, is this a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very interesting because, of course, you're a woman, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
We know that there are many issues that are just unique to women, especially when you're talking about that as the primary caregiver for most of the families. A lot of times women seem to almost neglect their own health to take care of everyone else around them. And so we worked with the University of Michigan, the Center for Chronic Disease Management, to implement the Women Breathe Free program throughout the country. And this is an evidence-based approach for women who have asthma and who are at high risk for ER visits and hospitalizations. And what we often start out is just asking women who call into the network, are you sleeping well at night? Are you waking up with coughing? Or are you missing days at work or school because of asthma? What are some of your favorite activities that you're not doing or you're missing out on because of asthma? Are you getting winded when you walk up a flight of stairs or when you dance with your partner or with your children? So we ask these questions, and through this motivational interviewing, we actually identify what the goal is for that particular patient. What would they like to do that they aren't doing currently? And then we talk about what the barriers are to that and how to overcome and address those barriers. And it's something that is a peer education. It really is almost just like a girlfriend talking to a girlfriend over the course of usually 4 calls in about 6 to 8 weeks of time, and helping women to set those goals, to address the barriers, to overcome those barriers, and to accomplish those goals. It really develops a sense of pride in women. And what we've seen is that through this program, it actually ends up positively impacting not only the woman who has asthma, but her entire family, because she's taking care of herself.
Yeah. A part of this is we don't really even understand the effects that asthma has on our families. And that is the first point of education, isn't it, right there? That's the first point of education. Really, yeah, it is. Because, we think we can almost wish the symptoms away. And this is really something that we have to educate ourselves about, though, Tonya, because, I don't know what the general experience is like, but when I've seen someone get past a certain point, there's not an inhaler that's going to help. there's something that has to happen. But if you're not educated about it and all that gets created is more chaos, it actually makes the situation worse. So tell me how this particular program, can help spread the message out and get relief.
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of times women fail to think and connect the dots between stress or menstrual cycle, between not taking their medications as routinely as perhaps they've been prescribed or should, or even things like cleaning chemicals, and the impact that can have on their breathing. I know, a lot of times as you're cleaning around the house and you may use things like bleach or other irritants and get that reaction, you don't connect the dots to realize that these are things that could cause your asthma to flare or to get out of control. And so through the Women Breathe Free program, we ask those questions. We take the time to really step back and think through what's happening and why it's happening and what we can do to impact that positively or to change that. And so it really is that opportunity to kind of take a step away. 30, 45 minutes is all it takes over the course of the time that we're having those calls with the women to talk about these things and to realize what those triggers are, what those barriers are. Sometimes it's something like losing 10 pounds, or maybe it's talking to the housing authority about pest control. That's really the issue. And so identifying those things and then giving them the solutions and supporting them through that process and that journey of addressing those barriers is really at the heart of the Women Breathe Free program.
Yeah, I think the thing is when we have a situation like this, fear shows up. And if we are not educated, the problem with having fear showed up is that it really does give sense to the sense of urgency. However, it doesn't help us think clearly. And if we have the education and the information, we will have a sense of what to do. Because isn't that really what we're talking about? What can we do so we don't put ourselves in an at-risk situation? And then if perchance we are, then what can we do? This is really what we're talking about.
It is. And, it's like I was saying to you during the break, Dr. Pat, we don't like to use the term rescue medication. We think that you should be well controlled with your daily medication and only occasionally have the need for what we call a quick release medication when you're talking about asthma. And if you're using that quick relief or that rescue medication, that albuterol, too frequently, then truly your asthma is not as well controlled as you think it is. And that's the time to see your doctor and to have an honest conversation about how asthma is negatively impacting your life and what you can do differently to address that. Because you don't want to get into that situation where you really are in need of rescue. And that's when asthma, unfortunately, can claim lives, as it does to 10 Americans each and every day.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're so focused on education at the network, and it's why we make our resources and our website and all those things available not only in English but also in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at other languages now to reach other people and populations that perhaps are not English speaking.
Yeah, and I think you pointed out something very, very important. 10 lives a day, in a scenario where education could really be the difference. Tonya, thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
All right. I want to make sure everybody knows, go to the website and find out more. And Tonya, one last thing. What's the best way people can just sign up, right, once they get there?
Absolutely. So if you just go to allergyasthmanetwork.org, you can sign up for free. It's right there on the homepage. And then also, if you don't have access to the internet, you can give us a call toll free at 1-800-878-4403.
I love it.
1-800-878-4403.
Yes. Wow. Tonya, thank you so much. And we've got lots more coming from Tonya as we move forward so that you can experience the freedom of amazing health. We'll see you next time.